Good morning. How you guys doing? This Mike back again with the thought of the day on April 6, 2023. First, I want to give the honor and praise to the Elohim of Israel for waking me up today and giving me the strength and the wisdom to bring you this message. Today, my topic is, it wasn't my drinking, it was my thinking. It wasn't my drinking, it was my thinking. Early on in my sobriety, I had went to a meeting, and it was this older guy there who had, they call them old timers, who had many years in sobriety. And he put me to the side and he said, I have good news and I have bad news. The good news is that you never have to drink again and you never have to feel like that, how you felt before. The bad news is drinking wasn't ever your problem. It was the way you thought. And that's what you need to change. You need to change the way you were thinking. And they say in the fellowship that more as you go, more will be revealed as you learn about yourself. So once I looked back at myself when I did my steps, I looked back and I saw my way of thinking was totally off because it came from me being selfish and self-centered, even as a child. I remember getting voted most conceited in 7th grade, and I thought that that was a good thing. I really was ignorant to the word, what conceited meant. I thought that it was good to walk around arrogant with my chest poked out and belittling other people. We called it playing dozens. Belittling other people to make myself feel good. Wanting to chase, to have the most money, to have the most girls, to go on the most trips, to be able to brag about everything that I had. But it was really a sign of insecurity. And it was a cover-up for what the uncertainty and the fear that I really felt inside. See, that's what the world tells us, that we need those things to be successful. But in turn, all I really needed was a relationship with the Most High and relationship with Christ, and try to live Christ-like. That's what's not told to us. See, putting down the drink was just the beginning of my journey. If I didn't change who I was inside, then I could never work for Christ the way that I needed to work for him, and please the Most High the way I needed to please him. I could never do that. I'm going to read a passage from this book, and which sums it up pretty much what I'm talking about. And it's very, very deep. It's the book that I'm reading it from, The 12 Steps for Christians. It's a book that it doesn't promote Christianity or anything like that. It just tells people how to get a strong relationship with the Most High and to try to live Christ-like as possible. It says, we live in a culture that places a high value on individual accomplishment. Most of us, from the time we were small children, were bombarded with the ideal of high achievement. Being competitive in school, sports, and business is viewed as important in our society. We are taught that if we compete hard enough, we will be winners and therefore good people. If, however, we don't measure up to what is expected of us and are losers, we believe we are failures. Due to the absence of good role models during childhood, many of us are confused. We don't know where we fit in. We continue to allow worth and self-esteem to be determined by what we do and what others think of us, and not about who we are in Christ. Looking back at our past, we may continue to classify ourselves as losers. We may condition ourselves to fail. Our low self-esteem keeps us from becoming winners and causes extreme stress and anxiety. As we mature, matters get worse. The stressful lives we lead gives us no satisfaction, and the stress compounds our problems. Our fears and insecurities increase, creating a sense of panic. Some of us revert to abusing mind-altering substances such as drugs, alcohol, or fuel to relieve our tension. In more subtle ways, we bury ourselves in church activities, work relationships, or other addictive, compulsive behaviors to try to combat the anxieties that seem to overwhelm us. When we come to grips with our lives, we realize that our lives are just one big roller coaster ride. We have no alternative but to admit that we are powerless, that our lives have become unmanageable. When we begin to recognize the seriousness of our conditions, it's important that we seek to stop the roller coaster. That's what I had to do. I had to stop the roller coaster. And by turning my life over to God and trying to live a Christ-like life and a set-apart life away from the world gave me the ability to stop the roller coaster. Are you living a sober life? Or are you just abstinent from drugs or alcohol? Like I said, putting down a bottle was one thing, but if I was going to still treat people mean, if I was going to still cheat, if I was going to still cheat on my wife, if I was going to still walk around arrogance and being pampered, if I was going to walk around just talking to people any kind of way, I might as well should have stayed drinking. That's the real work. The change, it's an inside job, and I had to change who I was inside. That's why I said it wasn't my thinking, it wasn't my drinking, it was always about my thinking. This is Brother Mike. Have a good day. Shalom.